This past year, we have focused on 3 mayors. The so-called mobster Mayor Ganem of Bridgeport, Connecticut, who did 7 years in federal prison on corruption charges. The empty suit dictator, Brian Stack of Union City, New Jersey, and Mayor Mao Zedong Foley of the village of Cold Spring, New York. One thing they have in common is winning elections where they do not have an opponent or second party. They also reject American traditions of free and open criticism of government. These narcissists need to control the narrative. Mayor Mao Foley wants to be the first invisible politician where you are not allowed to film her. It is an American tradition to film while asking politicians questions. Not in Cold Spring. In today's video, we return to Cold Spring, New York, in front of the Village Hall. This is the everything place, including the court and the police department. Join us as we attempt to communicate using large signs and in-person conversation to bypass Mayor Foley's censorship. Remember, censorship is a tool that politicians use to attempt to control and manipulate the narrative. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, again, I've got this balaclava on because it's freaking freezing. And I just got over being sick, so I want to stay warm. And I've got Scalzo Photo with me here. And Scalzo does editing for myself, some brilliant genius editing for myself, as well as for Long Island Audit. And he had an idea. Take a look at these signs here. And just go closer. Then when I ask you, Scalzo, about them. And
so this is basically when Mayor Foley shut down the meeting, and
what meeting did she shut down?
The public meeting, right during public comments that were not government approved, literally not government approved. You have to get a pre-approval process, get it on the agenda. So I did a satirical sign, her as Mayor Mao Foley with a communist flag in the back, because in my opinion it's indistinguishable.
I would like to make a motion that we limit public comment to items that were on the agenda this evening, and we'll take public comment for 10 minutes.
Not acceptable.
I'm sorry?
Not acceptable. We the people. That is not acceptable. We are here to give comment on relevant things to this village.
Sir,
and for you to limit this,
you
have shut our Facebooks down. You have limited the public from...
Second. All in favor?
Coward. Look at the coward. Fatty,
Tyranny. You can't silence we the people. You will be held accountable.
This is absolute tyranny. We, the people, have a right to speak and redress the government of this brutal police officer, Kenneth Baker, who you refuse to fire. This is the big coward right here.
Hold on to it as long as you can.
Tyranny, coward against we, the people.
I mean, if we can't speak freely, then what's the point?
All right, what about this one here?
So, basically, as I explained at the last public meeting, the original charge against you was a false charge, which they believe there's nothing wrong with a false charge and there's nothing wrong with a lie by a prosecutor or an officer. And I disagree. I said it's wrong to lie and it's wrong to create a false charge. The mayor and the trustees disagree. They think there's nothing wrong with a lie. So now we're trying to convince them that it is in fact wrong to lie. So, and I even put a question: did they lie or are they incompetent? Meaning, do they not know how to read the law properly? So I was being fair. You know, if they're not incompetent and it's not a lie, feel free to prove me wrong.
Right, you're just asking questions, you know, and
right.
they haven't acknowledged or denied anything.
No, they know I'm right.
And
that's the problem. That's why they avoid us.
That's why they don't acknowledge or deny it. When they know you're right, they stay silent.
In fact, I was hoping to sleep in today, and I couldn't because I had to force myself to come here.
It's cold. It's cold here.
Mayor, let me sleep in. I don't want to come here all the time.
So Mayor Foley and the village board forced him to come here today.
Because I have these stupid things called morals and ethics, which are really annoying. It's so much easier to go through life without those things. But
well, then you better not run for public office because you will not be in good company. All right, so let's go to the other one. So what's this other one here?
All right, so I took the image from the original. This is the original public meeting where they got mad at you, Leroy, because you uttered the phrase, "How dare you? Don't speak to me that way."
You have 3 minutes. That's right. And it's on the agenda.
The full unedited video is linked below. Notice how hostile and rude Mayor Foley is from the start. Why? This is literally the first time meeting. Why the hostility from the mayor and the board when their village employee started this by lying and forcing Leroy to return to Cold Spring over and over and over for many months? They create the situation and try to blame him for it.
You have 3 minutes. That's right. And it's on the agenda. There's a 3-minute limit.
Ladies and gentlemen of the village of Cold Spring, our beautiful, serene village, known for its warmth and hospitality, has had a dark shadow cast upon it for the last 4 years by a violent, brutal, and aggressive predator, Officer Kenneth Baker. You knew of Officer Baker's tainted history, a track record filled with extreme police brutality while he was an NYPD police officer. Yet based on mere recommendation by Officer Larry Burke, he was not only hired, but also given the power to patrol our peaceful streets.
Our peaceful streets. You're not a resident, sir.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Stop interrupting me.
Stop
Mayor
interrupting me.
and the village board of trustees, you allowed this wolf amongst our flock and continue to do so. And for that, you bear the responsibility. An 88-year-old couple. The gentleman parked next to the restaurant so his handicapped wife can get out with her walker. Kenneth Baker didn't like that, and he yelled at them. He was incredibly aggressive, and so much so that they will never come here again. Scores of people told me stories of police brutality and aggressiveness that Kenneth Baker did. So I'm calling on each of you to do the right thing and fire Kenneth Baker. And your arrogance and how you are not caring about what I'm saying is disgusting.
Comments are offensive and attacking.
Yes,
You have been rude since I started here.
And your time is up.
And do the right thing and fire Kenneth Baker.
Let the record reflect that this gentleman is not a resident of the village of Cold Spring. He is not a constituent of this board. His name is he is a YouTube First Amendment activist. This is about clicks and it's about money. We are accountable. I am talking now, and I am the mayor, sir.
Don't talk to me like that. This is about accountability.
You may leave.
This is about accountability. You interrupted me.
I have asked you to leave the
You
room.
interrupted me.
I have asked you to leave the room.
Now look at this.
You need to leave. You need to leave. Get up and leave the court. This.
Let me have my. Hey, my keys are here. Excuse
I'll
me.
get your keys.
I want you to stay. Stop pushing me. Stop pushing me.
I'm gonna tell you one
I'm
last
outside right
time.
here.
Get out. Step out. Get out.
Now, most people in a relationship know that if you're being told, don't speak to me that way, perhaps you should look in the mirror. That if those words are coming towards you, perhaps you're being rude, perhaps you're not communicating properly. So, but instead the mayor has her mindless goon drag Leroy out of the room, which is not the best way to deal with an issue. There's ways that can involve communication instead of just grabbing someone out of your presence, which I would never do that.
Right. The thing is, again, she didn't acknowledge or deny the facts I gave about Kenneth Baker, having nothing to do with my ticket.
Right. It was about claiming that you want to aggravate public officials rather than saying that you're wrong.
Right. Rather than saying that I'm an investigative journalist and I was bringing to them the results of my investigation, an objective investigation with objective facts that are in court documents as to the over $300,000 in settlements and at least 43 complaints of Officer Kenneth Baker.
And then people respond, how do we know that those are true? So I put in letters, if you don't believe them, I just put, where there's smoke, there's fire. And what other job can you even get 10 complaints and keep your job? Usually there's, at some point, people go, oh, wait, maybe there's some truth to this.
Right.
At the 12th complaint, the 15th complaint, the 20th complaint, the 23rd complaint, the 25th, the 3rd, it's too high to count. At some point, the owner goes, nah, we'll hire someone else.
Right, that's just the complaints. That's not the at least eight known lawsuits that were settled with extreme details of the brutality of Officer Kenneth Baker. This is no one had a grudge against Baker. He brought this on himself with his actions, and he continues to do this with his actions. Now the mayor and the village board, who are responsible for keeping this predator, brutal cop employed, it's on them now. That any other village or town or city would have fired him, knowing just about his past, plus knowing he continues to terrorize and aggressively police in this beautiful village. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the complaint that the mayor had the ending line says, we believe Baker enjoys making women uncomfortable. That was at one of the documented complaints against Baker. This is like a year or two ago. So just that phrase.
Someone said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mayor, just that phrase would go, huh, I should look into this guy. And if you looked into him, you would see other similar complaints about being abusive and just. And at the end, I wrote police abuse and Bill of Rights violations, because there's more than these are not slip and fall settlements. These are Bill of Rights violations. They're very serious.
And retaliatory because he has a history of that, and so forth. So,
I would like to take this time to thank Officer Cosentino of the village of Cold Spring, New York. In contrast to Officer Barkley, Cosentino does not mindlessly follow the mayor's emotions. He instead understands, as an officer, he is the neutral middleman between politicians and the public.
More than welcome to film the open accessible areas. You want to just constitutional right? I have no problem with that.
You are in a non-public, non-designated public space.
You are
public building.
It's protected under the First Amendment.
Right.
You have.
Can you train everyone else, including the mayor, about that?
Are you the good guy? You want it? Yeah.
I'll do the activism. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You did a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
And she did this illegal and unlawful and unconstitutional policy.
Officer Baker was so incredibly, venomously aggressive upon first contact. No one should talk to another human being like he talked to me. And he's talked to so many other people in the village who have talked with me about their experiences with him.
Expect the police officer to tell you what you're supposed to do.
I totally get that.
Right.
But it's hard to the way that the venom in that exchange. I was like, holy cow!
And who is this? Which officer?
I only recognize him from the picture.
It is Baker again. This is the third person that came up with that he has a bad attitude.
Right.
No, because I mean, I get it.
You experienced
The
it.
story might be 10 minutes.
No, there wasn't.
You don't know.
No, it wasn't. What are you talking about?
Well, you don't know.
I know I was there.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Honestly, that's like kind of crazy. I was
Okay.
there.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I've seen that guy before.
Who?
That cop.
Yeah, he's here.
And what do you know about him?
Aggressive behavior, Here and there.
Yeah.
Like you were the loud tone. Yeah, loud tone. Threatens. He said he threatened to arrest us, take us to like the station or something.
He threatened to arrest you for not having plastic helmets.
Straight to the yell. Like stopped us completely.
And that's what I hear his modus operandi is. He gets verbally aggressive with people because he's used to slamming people into cars and vans.
I have another. I just was talking to friends that just moved here, had a similar situation.
Really?
This guy.
Kenneth Baker.
Yeah, same thing. Totally went off on it.
Corroborating past claims as well as corroborating my experience as well. Aggressive men like Kenneth Baker make people hate police and lose respect for them. What are the odds that Ken Baker is linked to 3 situations 3 years apart where people were kept for hours in vans? That obviously strongly suggests these stories are true. Of course. I can't ignore the image of a woman being dragged out of her bed in the middle of the night and berated and abused. That is profoundly sick and sadistic. Officers stormed into the plaintiff's victim's home and assaulted, beat, and battered them. Officers did not follow NYPD procedures in getting a legitimate warrant. Mrs. Gonzalez was dragged from her bedroom and further abused. Nothing was found and she was falsely arrested. Since my visit, I have received dozens and dozens of phone calls and emails of residents, business owners, and tourists sharing their stories as well.
Mr. Burke would like to make a comment?
Oh, there was Larry Burke. He was offered to make a comment, and Scouser offered him to make a comment, and he refused to make a comment. I was gonna no direction signal. What the hell?
So
he's such a hurry to run away. He didn't use the direction signal.
I was hoping he could prove us wrong.
Yeah.
He has no interest in proving us wrong.
Look how fast he's going. That's 50 miles an hour, ladies and gentlemen. He's going like way faster. He must be doing 30, 40 miles an hour there. We literally have officer in charge, Larry Burke, speeding.
That showed us. That showed us, didn't it?
Right.
I mean, what is...
He was so afraid of us. And what are they afraid of? Why don't they acknowledge or deny the facts here? Of over $300,000 in settlements, police officer is working here. Extreme police brutality. And have you heard about this guy, or you know anything about him?
Who? Which guy? There's a lot of people.
The Kenneth Baker's the bottom.
You're familiar?
Oh well, I live here.
And what are your thoughts of his police brutality?
Who did he brutalize? Someone in town here?
No.
Well, he's
in the village, I should say.
he.
NYPD's a long record of abusing people, and a few complaints here as well of slides.
Yeah, and he's terrorized people here for 4 years now.
Terrorized?
Yeah. Why are you laughing? Like, why do you think that's funny?
Because you're exaggerating. And when people exaggerate, it's funny.
And why do you think it's an exaggeration? Do you think I'm just making this up?
Well, who did he terrorize?
I have talked to dozens of people here.
Dozens?
And I'll give you a specific example.
Wait. Define terrorize first, and then tell me who he terrorized.
Most jobs, if you're even rude to people, you'll get fired. If you lie, you'll get fired. We document that he lied, or is he a liar, or is he incompetent? That's what we're trying to figure out right now.
Most jobs. Who's that?
Kenneth Baker, your friend.
That's the prosecutor.
Kenneth Baker, your buddy.
No, who's Andres Gil?
That's the prosecutor that was too spineless to do the right thing.
When? Back when he was at NYPD?
No. This is the current time in Cold Spring, and so the original thing that sparked it was he got a ticket. And he's not upset about the ticket.
Oh yeah, I know all that.
But he's not upset about the ticket. It was based on a lie, a 5-point ticket. Mm-hmm. And I spoke to other attorneys, and they say a car has to be moving to get a 5-point cell phone ticket. Okay. And the officer lied and said that the car doesn't have to be moving, and you can just.
Okay, well it's a matter of law then.
Right. So I made the legal argument and also made the ethical argument that it's wrong to abuse that law to give someone a ticket because you're upset about him. But then we looked into it, and there's all these other things. 43 NYPD complaints. Most officers, even Burke doesn't have that many. Burke has 6.
Right.
So we're not. I have to make this statement. We're not anti-police. I even said Burke has 0 lawsuits. This guy has $300,000 in lawsuits. There's a huge difference between 0 and $300,000.
But have you ever read the actual details of the lawsuits against your friend Kenneth Baker?
He's not my friend.
All right, good.
Okay.
He works here.
Yeah. All right, but
I hired him.
Oh, did you?
What's your name?
I did. Steve Velotto.
How did you hire him? What was your role?
I was the village trustee at the time when he was hired.
So I'm so glad we're talking. And did you do a background check?
No, officer in charge does that.
You know what he told me?
And we rely on that, but we've had other cases where we knew things were going on, and I did look into the background of some of the other officers.
Right. Have you ever looked into Baker's background?
Yes, there's no. Those are just basic settlements against officers. There's no. He left the department in good standing. That's what you look at.
Who's made that?
That's our relative. That's NYPD.
It's the NYPD.
Yeah.
And that's up to them. Now, if there were some problems with another guy, and he had to resign, leave.
Let's see if I can find a good one.
Baker's way worse than the other guy.
No, there was a guy killed under the watch of the other guy.
Yeah.
And though he wasn't a part of it.
I know,
it was someone under
Scott Morris.
Yeah, it was someone under his.
Right, but he personally didn't hurt anybody.
No, he didn't.
You know,
that's why we hired
Baker
him.
has though.
We hired him, and then he had to leave because there was a big.
Right. Yeah, I know. You know the whole history of that. You have a history here of hiring brutal NYPD cops.
Of hiring NYPD.
Anthony
retirees is the history.
Right, but looking at the record, Anthony Popchak, he should have been in prison, and he was like on a technicality.
That when he was working here.
No,
Yeah,
I meant before he got in trouble.
Before that was before.
But when he
tenure,
was when he was at the NYPD, there was an undercover wire because he was extorting money from drug dealers.
I know.
And
I heard about it after the fact.
Right. And you wouldn't have hired him knowing what.
No, I would not have at the time. Of course.
But what about Baker? Like knowing what you know now about Baker.
He didn't have anything like that against him.
Oh, he has way worse.
No, I've looked at it.
You looked at
now that you've
have you looked at the 50-A, the details of the settlements in the court documents? That's what I'm talking about.
I just know the amounts, which could very well be.
Oh, the amounts aren't the relevant part. It's the details.
They are because that shows the seriousness with which they took it. For them to dismiss something and make a payout of $100,000 at the NYPD, here it would be a big deal. That's chump change for them, and that's the easier way to go.
Right. You got to look at who. Just a bit of scholarship. You got to look at who he victimized, because what happens is he's not the people he's victimizing aren't high-level people. They'll take $20,000, $30,000 settlements, but when you look at the details, that's the most important thing. Yeah. Look at the details of the settlements. That's the thing. Because I have no issue with Baker personally, but I was given a retaliatory ticket, and the short answer is I was double parked. He could have given me a double park ticket. I would have pled guilty. You would have never known who I was. But instead, he immediately upon first contact, which is something he's done with numerous people here, yelling and screaming at me, "Are you a freaking idiot? Why are you parked like that?" Right. I gave it back to him a bit.
So you put in a complaint against him?
Yeah.
The village?
That's
where you have. That's your route.
She completely ignored it. The village board of trustees completely ignored it.
That's what I call her.
Well, how the process works is, if you have a complaint against an officer, okay, the village has to approach the PBA.
That shouldn't have to happen.
Well, sorry, that's how.
But I want to. I'm glad what you're saying.
In the fantasy world, yes, it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
Unfortunately,
like you.
These people have a union, the police.
I know.
Okay, and they're still a part of it, even though they're not with NYPD anymore.
Right.
So, say we've had officers in the past that we've tried to get rid of because of complaints like the ones you're making against Baker, and we couldn't do it because their union reps show up, and you're dealing with the union. So the mayor. I don't know how much power the mayor actually even has to say you can't come in here anymore. Well, now you're in the hot water with the PBA. So they have a protection in place. So it's not as easy as like, why doesn't Foley just fire this douchebag? Well, it ain't that easy. Well, so that's the problem you're dealing with.
I know it's not easy. I really appreciate you.
Sure.
So it's not easy, but how do you do it? Because
I don't know.
If he was a good man,
well, you have to. If something really awful happened, the PBA is also there as an apology. Right. They're there to say, "Hey, you're right. Wow, this officer did this and da, da, da."
Right.
Stuff like this.
But
go ahead and try. But the village board is not going to, other than make note of your complaint, all right, and then deal with it through the officer in charge.
Right.
If it happens 6 times, 4 times, 3 times, 1 time, that's 1 on the record. 2. I don't know how many it takes for this current board.
They got
to do
numerous
something
complaints.
about it. I have no idea.
And they're covering them up because I did FOIL information requests.
Okay.
And they claim there are 2, me and one other person. When people in the village are coming forward to me and they're giving me complaints that they gave to them.
You should publicize those.
That's what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
That's literally our process.
So that's how you get it. Sometimes these people aren't. Even if they could dismiss this guy out of hand like that, they wouldn't.
Well, they got him down to one weekend, which is good.
Certain people in certain roles just don't like being told what to do.
Even
I personally wasn't that way.
Even if it's the right thing.
But no, if it's the right thing, and it's your opinion that it's the right thing, that's different than the right thing.
When you know the history.
So when you can show that 6 other people that you say that all over the village who have complaints against this guy, and you show that it's in the paper and everybody in town knows it, then they're going to say, well, what's going on here?
You know,
you know what I'm saying?
Right, but do you know, because there are, and I've been publishing more and more of them, but I mean, Larry Burkus admitted off the record that, he knows about Baker, and he says, you know what, he's claiming he didn't have 50-8, a website when he hired him, and he did some background checks.
Well, that if anything had come up at that time, I wouldn't have voted to hire him.
Right.
We don't want someone like that walking around the
street. They know the facts now. Okay. So he doesn't have lifelong tenure.
I can't do anything about it.
Right. Well, I appreciate you because you've been.
If you came on the board and I was sitting there, I would listen to you.
Yeah.
And I would advise you, make a complaint, put it, and then when we have a collection of complaints, we have to have an action on it.
Right.
I don't know if they're, you're having a measuring contest with this lady or whatever.
No, see, I don't care about her.
But I don't know what's
personally, I don't care about her. I don't care about Baker in the picture of him personally. But he happened to put it bluntly, fuck with a police reform activist. Out of 26 years of never being held accountable.
Sure.
And it wasn't the ticket that pissed me off.
Well, you gotta. I understand your point.
Yeah.
You got a road ahead of you.
Yeah.
But if you do if you do what I'm saying, then they have no choice. It's in the public knowledge. So if they are actually ignoring complaints against the guy and
they're hiding them, hiding them too.
As you say, prove that.
Which I got the proof. So it's going to be in my next video. And here, show this gentleman.
So this is from 2012. This is nothing new. Kenneth Baker involved. Defendant officers stormed into plaintiff's, I call victim's home and assaulted, beat, and battered them. If the defendants had a search warrant.
I saw that.
If they had a search warrant
from you.
Yeah, because I've been it's just facts. I'm not making shit up about this guy.
It was issued.
I think if you looked into the NYPD, how many officers have that? Lots of them.
Which doesn't justify it. You have a whole bunch
justify it, but they will settle out of court things. What I'm saying is true. Are they going to, if they know that they have a long fight ahead of them because they know the guy did something, or if the person who's making these assertions are just fishing for money, they're happy to $200,000. Okay, we had to do that here at the village when we had a guy who worked for us who said that we didn't hire him because he was a veteran. Okay, which was absolute bullshit. And then he ended up suing us, and we settled for $120,000, and it went away. And we said this isn't true, but in the interest of expedience, we did it. So I'm sure the same shit happens at NYPD. So how much of that I'm not here to protect this guy. If he sucks, he sucks.
Yeah.
But how much of that settlement money was actually because this guy really fucked somebody up and they had to pay it off? Because if he really fucked somebody up, it would be $5 million, not $300,000.
All depends. It all depends who you're fucking up, though.
No, I mean,
because
fuck him up, hurt him.
Right, but these are low income people. That $35,000 is a big freaking deal. Now, one last thing, Barkley did even worse than Baker. You know about what Barkley did?
No.
And he's more recent.
Yeah.
And
hello.
Hey, what's up?
I see you on YouTube.
Hey there.
What?
I said hello.
Oh, hello.
And
I'm a fan.
All right, make your point. I'm getting cold.
all right, I am too. And you're hardly dressed. So
I've been out in this all day.
Robert Barkley, he was hired, I think a year ago, and he has one settlement, and the details are so extreme that him and another detective in plain clothes, they broke into some guy's house, no warrant, and the guy, fearing for his life, he just thinks these guys are coming to kill him, jumps off of his balcony onto...
No, plain clothes?
Yeah, they were plain clothes.
Out of uniform.
And they didn't identify themselves as cops, from what I understand. Jumps off a balcony, like second floor, injures himself, gets hit by a different police car, runs away, because they figured they're coming, to kill him. And Barkley and this other guy find him in a basement. They beat the shit out of him. They bring him to a police car. They handcuff him. They go on another call. This guy's gravely injured, has to go to the hospital. They go another call for an hour. They finally take him to the hospital, handcuff him excessively tightly to a bed, lie and make up all these lies to justify what they did. And then it was completely untrue.
So there was an actual settlement against him?
Yeah. So, I mean, they like...
How much it was?
It's not a big one, like $35,000.
But he only has one. So imagine having multiple. What you guys hooked up?
But I don't even care about one. But I don't want to dismiss that.
No,
Yeah.
I just didn't need that. That's all.
Yeah, but
It's all terrible stuff.
You're the most grounded, present person I spoke with. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, you're actually listening.
Well, I was on this board.
But
for
you were
5 years.
board. This board doesn't listen. You do.
No, I was previous board.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I left a year previous to Mayor Foley becoming a trustee, and then she became the mayor like a year into it.
Right.
So.
Would you be willing to go back? I would move to Cold Spring and vote for you if you were to run again.
No, I did 5 years, and it took a lot out of my life.
Yeah, a lot of time.
I run my own construction business.
Wow.
Yeah. So
do you have an email address?
I got kids, and I'd rather spend time with them. If something.
I agree. That's better. Mentally healthy.
But I've thought about running in different times.
You should be mayor.
Maybe when I get old.
You should be mayor.
Too much. It's hard. Being a mayor is not easy.
I know.
Like it's not. This village has no money. They get no money from the county.
They could save $342,000 by dissolving this department.
Well, I know about that, but then that's another discussion for another time. And we wouldn't want that. Most people in the village don't want that. Because in the county, sheriff deputies are now in charge of the village. So we prefer to keep it in-house. So that's why we keep the police. That's our argument anyway. But, I forgot my point. Doesn't matter.
Well, I celebrate you. What's your name again?
Steve.
Steve
Villotto.
Pleasure to meet you.
All right, man.
Really appreciate your time.
Do you have an email address? We can chat more later.
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Pleasure. You too. These are unethical people. You get people like her that have no ethics. They have no morals. They allow brutal police officers to
Some other people
be
don't
here.
have ethics or morals.
Explain why we're wrong.
Oh, yeah. We'd love to hear from you, sir.
You're the most apathetic man, I called you.
Yeah.
The man of apathy.
I would love to hear your perspective, sir.
You see?
Now, he had an opportunity. He says, I don't have ethics and morals. And what basis does he have, Scalzo, for that? All I brought is truth. I've never said an untrue statement about Kenneth Baker.
Because because lying is much easier for them than actually confronting the issue. And if you notice, I called him a man of apathy. That's not necessarily an insult. That's information for him. Like if someone said that I was being apathetic, I would be like, oh, interesting. I'll try not to be apathetic anymore.
There was a man that went by who said something disparagingly about me.
All right, that was the Village Democratic Committee Social Club.
Right. We walked back up Main Street, coming across the Phillipstown, New York Democratic Party Committee. And Phillipstown is the town where the village of Cold Spring is under. Ironically, they can't stand democracy or redressing of grievances with the government if it doesn't agree or align with their very myopic and narrow perspectives. Our conversation started out very friendly, as we were invited into the conversation by Janice Hogan, chair of the committee of the Democrats.
We just saw someone running for supervisor.
This is the Phillipstown Democrat.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, this is a...
Some of us.
Net.
Some of us. And Bob and Judy are running.
The crowd is bigger than you.
Right.
They are already on the board and they're running for re-election. And this is the chairperson of our Democratic.
Yes, pleasure to meet you. And who are you?
I have a YouTube channel called Leroy Truth Investigation, and I'm an investigative journalist, and I'm investigating the village of Confronting. Have you posted the video already? Yeah.
Yeah, you can check it out on there. Take a photo of the image.
Yeah, I posted.
I watched it.
5 so far, and I just keep finding more corruption. And the mayor and the board are digging their heels in, and they won't fire this guy who has police brutality history. Officer Kenneth Baker.
Yeah, that story's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 2 years old. Like, this story's been going on and on.
Yeah, and I just started covering it about 3 months ago, but they won't fire him yet, and it's a huge liability from an insurance standpoint for the village of Cold Spring. And so many business owners I've talked with, they're terrified of him because he keeps harassing him, retaliation when they complain to the mayor, and so I'm just exposing the truth. That's all it is.
Well, thank you. Well, make sure that you are listening to what everyone says and record it faithfully as they said it.
Right.
You know? Because we have really excellent public servants here, truly.
Well, we're only talking about one person, not everyone. Not everybody.
Right.
Actually, I'm talking about the mayor and the board of trustees. I was thrown out with hands-on by police at the village board meeting last month because they wouldn't hear what I had to say.
How did you present it?
Janice Hogan implies the mayor's feelings are more important than any issue you are bringing to light.
Presented it like it's on my video. It's in the video.
It's right on the link there. You can check it out. Listening back, you can hear one of the pretend public servants or associate grunting in annoyance.
They wouldn't hear what I had to say.
How did you present it? How did you present it?
Keep in mind, Leroy is not using his camera and they have no idea I am recording with my hidden camera. These pretend public servants are only annoyed that we are discussing an important issue with them that they don't care about. If we talked about the dog park, they would be giddy to conversate.
They already knew about this because I've been in contact with the mayor, and as soon as I told her she can't do an internal investigation, we're going to check it out internally. No. She stopped getting back to me. The village trustees stopped getting back to me. And this is just truth I'm giving.
Well, like I said, as long as you present the truth truthfully, because I know that Mayor Foley is a highly competent public servant.
Janice cares more about talking up Mayor Foley than asking for details about an abusive man employed by the police department.
Truly works her ass off for the village of Cold Spring. A part-time job that she works full-time.
And if you know her, she needs to fire Kenneth Baker.
Or at least look into it. How about that? We'll start there.
She needs to fire Kenneth Baker. That I've given the facts. It's all public record. Documented over $300,000 of extreme police brutality. I mean, it's listed online. I mean, kidnapping people, strip searching them illegally.
False arrest.
False arrest. Ripping women out of the beds and dragging them out of a bed.
Right. He worked for New York City.
Yeah, and they hired him anyway. Right. And they need to fire him. So simple.
Yeah. He was hired under a previous mayor. I don't.
Fired under right, which I know he needs to be especially. She knew these complaints because I've talked with numerous business owners. They've complained about him over the last 4 years. What happens is she ignores their complaints completely, and then she tells Larry Burke. Larry Burke tells Kenneth Baker. He retaliates against him. It's happened so many times.
I am going to give the mayor the benefit of the doubt on this because I know how conscientious he is, and that you may not always see what's in the words, but you have the right to report, and she does her job, and the board does their job.
She had me kicked out of a public meeting, and regardless of however I presented, there was no disorderly conduct. She took away my time and had an AMP officer go hands-on. That's not a competent mayor. So I will know them from their fruits.
And she may have been lied to. We don't know, but that's in her defense.
Well, why are you defending her?
I'm being her. The
other side of the story. That is a possibility. It's also
it's been a great meeting you,
but
we're having a little hangout here, and
Well, I would think you would be all concerned about this, that there's this,
we heard you.
brutal police officer.
Time, I got it.
Well, we were speaking to her, and we weren't speaking to
You're
you.
being rude now.
You see how people don't listen? They just immediately... Right, but we're human beings too. We can talk.
Democrats that are supporting a candidate, and you are literally, at least a number of you, not all of you, are ignoring the facts I'm presenting to you.
After less than 1 minute of a seemingly friendly conversation with Janice, other members of this political organization started to pretend as if they were just some random people that we were bothering, ignoring the fact that they had political signs and invited us into the conversation. The word gaslighting comes to mind.
That are supporting a candidate, and you are literally, at least a number of you, not all of you, are ignoring the facts I'm presenting to you.
Well, because I can say this about this. We consider the whole span.
Right now is a good time. It's a good time.
To reveal a brutal police officer.
We realize that they are much more like a wine and cheese social club, not an organization focused on actual public service. And once criticism of the Village of Cold Spring Mayor Kathleen Foley started, pure politics and deflection to protect their friends immediately came into play. You will see men here telling people to stop talking. This is how corruption works. People being told to shh, stop talking.
We have this. Yeah, I've seen it.
Right, but we were talking to her.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
I've seen him in action. I agree with you.
You agree?
Why would you be neutral about a brutal police officer in this village?
Can you tell us if you want to tell us anything about what you saw?
Why would I go away?
Wait a minute.
Because you are paying.
He's too heavy-handed.
Consent to a video.
Let's just stop
This is
that.
public. You do not need to consent to a video.
See, he's too heavy-handed in what way?
Excuse me. It's not any of that.
I was invited to talk with this woman right here. See, this is more corruption here. So many people here do not care. They do not care about actual
when they tell you to stop talking,
police brutality.
Why do you think that is? I mean,
There is no corruption here.
no corruption. That's okay. Good.
And
Problem solved. So why is the guy still? He even agreed. He's heavy-handed. In your words, we don't need a heavy-handed guy in this town.
No, it's true, but aside from that, we're having a private gathering.
I understand.
So it's not really the right forum.
Right. Well, she engaged me in conversation, so I didn't start this.
Consider it over now, and then
I'm gonna have the last word here for a moment. Okay.
last word.
Last word is, it's fine to talk to you, and you have the right to talk to us.
It's about responsibilities, not rights.
You have the right to stop and tell us what you're doing, and we have the right to tell you that we support Mayor Foley and the Board of Cold Spring.
Again, Janice cares more about a politician than an abusive officer.
Because they are doing a great job comprehensively for a tiny village with a tiny budget in a very complex 21st century world. They have competent legal services.
No, don't worry about it.
They have competent legal services.
But we're not talking
And
about
there are
that.
so many pieces to everything that has to be done. So when you are there, exercising your right to be there, you should be respectful of what Mayor Foley and the board are doing.
I am there.
You were elected to serve the people of Cold Spring. Yeah, and you allowed
Excuse me, I'm talking right now. Your time is done. I'm talking right now. I'm talking.
Okay, you don't have to talk to me like I'm a toddler.
There was Peter, I'm answering your question, please.
You're not.
If you would let me talk, I can answer your question. Peter, I'm trying to answer your question. I have the floor now. So your premise in that question is not correct. And that is why, Peter, I'm still talking, right?
I didn't assert that. Sorry, that's what's coming out of your mouth.
That's actually what has come out of your mouth for the last 2 months.
No, I haven't spoke to this for 2 months.
I'm talking. I am talking now, and I am the mayor, sir.
Don't talk to me like that. This is about accountability.
You may leave.
Now look at this.
You need to leave. You need to leave. Get up and leave the courtroom.
Let me have my. Hey, my keys are here. Excuse me.
Get your keys.
I want you to stay. Stop pushing me. Stop pushing me.
I'm going to tell you one last time.
Right here.
Get out. Step out. Get out.
I am the mayor. I am the mayor. I am the mayor.
And the complexity of being a public
There's no
official
complexity
in a
when you have a
small town.
brutal police officer named Kenneth Baker in your village here. That you good.
Thank you.
Good. Well, I've got it with you too. Good. But if she were competent, which is she is not.
competent. And
the
she
proof is in the pudding. Did she fire Kenneth Baker knowing the past history?
But she lies about us.
Do you know the entire history of it?
We're not speaking to
You
you.
may
Yes,
not.
I know the entire history. I'm an investigative.
We're not speaking to you.
Right. I'm not talking to you. Enjoy your wine. I give him an opportunity. Well, let's hear. Why does he say I don't have morals or ethics?
Right.
And why would that be? And he runs away.
Yeah, without any specifics.
Hello.
And yeah, I was hoping he would. That was actually the guy I wanted to speak to, but he, as you see, ran away. They say an insult and they run away. Whereas we stand here and we're ready to have a conversation, but they're long gone.
Right, and I was ready to have a conversation with him. Like an open dialogue. Let's hear where he's coming from. Because obviously he doesn't know the truth, because if he did, this story is not about me. I'm going to say that again. This story is not about me. It was simply a gateway, his retaliatory ticket. My investigation revealed the truth about who this cop is, who he was and who he is. What he's done that's documented in brutality and lying, and what he continues to do here. And he is a ticking time bomb. He is a known insurance liability factor, a known. And this village, they can't afford a lawsuit. They can't afford a $10,000 lawsuit. They're $43,000 in the hole. Mayor Foley was complaining, Scalzo, that they're $43,000 in the hole. And where are they going to get that money from? Well, guess what? Fire Baker. You got to start there. And it's too bad. I feel really sad that man had an opportunity to have a dialogue.
He looked at the sign and he didn't think anything. He didn't even think of looking into it or proving you wrong or anything.
No, let's see. It's all about facts. And if I said anything wrong, which I know I didn't because I've looked it all up. And
wait, did you insult the mayor? That's the biggest sin you can do here. I think you may have.
I didn't know that mayor. I'm not sure anything could really insult her. She seems to perhaps be one of those few human beings who is born without a soul. What are your comments?
That makes me laugh, but you never know.
you never know. Or is she a witch, or does she have rabies, or
superhuman? She's superhuman, perhaps.
Right. Now, I don't personally believe in the devil or Satan, but sometimes you meet someone who may come close.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, I was just about to call the fire department in case it went into a tree, and the fire department came actually, I would climb the tree to save your cat.
That's a cute cat. Red-haired cats are awesome.
Yeah, that is a cool cat.
I'll be back.